like I said, we've tripled and quadrupled our revenue because of the stuff you guys are doing. So social media is definitely where it's at. So
the GenTech podcast discussing business, investing, and marketing.
How's it going, guys? Welcome to GenTech's podcast. Christian here, your host, as well as Naja, who's going to be helping me during this podcast. Today, we have a very, very, very special guest. We have Byron Johnson here. This man, in my opinion, is a business legend, and we're going to be digging deep into his background, obviously getting you guys a ton of value through this podcast. And again, thank you so much, Byron, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So why don't you let us know a little bit about that, your upbringing and whatnot?
Okay. All right. So 37 years old. Okay. A lot of folks think I'm about 30. You know, I like to keep the young look, right? But 37 years old, from Massachusetts is where I was born. Went to high school, did the college thing, played basketball in college. Moved to Florida when I was like 23, 24 years old. Jumped into the car business, realized I kind of had a knack for sales and making stuff happen and making money in the sales area. Ended up getting an opportunity to start a franchise with a company called Liberty Tax Service. Some of you guys may know who they are. During tax season, they throw a waiver out front in the green costume and they wave, trying to attract the traffic. So I started with that. Actually at 26 years old, had a pretty good team around me. I'm not going to take all the credit. Had a great team around me. We took it from one office all the way up to 4. Transitioned out of that, sold all 4 of the offices, did really well with that. And I said, you know what, I need to figure out another business to get into. I kind of like the tax space, and I looked into the insurance space. Because I like to do stuff that is required to do, so taxes, everybody's required to file, right? So I don't have to go around looking for clients. Pretty much every person I talk to is a client. So same thing with health insurance, same thing with auto insurance. If you drive a car, you're required to have it. So I took that route, and things started off well. And then I was acquainted with Christian and Amel. And they kind of took me to the next level with their social marketing. And here we are now, one of the top agencies in the state of Florida, not only for auto insurance, but also on the health insurance as well. Mm-hmm. So I got to give props and thanks to you guys for that. But so there we go. There's a little intro for you.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this, man. I mean, I know you like to make things happen, but why did you choose business to get into as a whole? I feel like a lot of people are stuck in this limbo, especially people that are on a younger audience side. They're like, should I go to school? Should I do this? Should I start my business?
So for me, being self-employed was probably always the way I was going to go, because my mom, my folks back home, they were self-employed. So I kind of grew up seeing how self-employed and owning your own I kind of seen it from the beginning. So I like the flexibility that comes along with being self-employed and owning your own business. And then on top of that, the earning and income potential that you can make. So those are going to be my two main things: the flexibility, and then also the income you can make.
Would you consider your mom as one of your mentors?
No, I mean, yes, I guess. Yes and no. Once I started my business career, she kind of was out of the picture for the most part when it comes to doing business. But I can't lie. Watching her run her business grew up, it definitely had a positive influence on me.
Definitely. I like the fact that you said that you are drawn into businesses that are required, which kind of gets us to like the new business that you're doing, which is more on the real estate side, because people need a roof over their head. People need an office. So why don't you let us know what you're doing with that, kind of like your plans for the future?
Yeah. So the real estate thing's more of it's a long-term play, right? So my main thing right now, obviously, is the insurance. and that's really big for us. And that's primarily the driver for the real estate stuff. But the real estate stuff is actually taken off, and we're up to 160 tenants now. We got 4 commercial buildings, sizable buildings. We got all types of tenants, from barbers to nail techs to, I even have the Hillsborough County Probation Office is one of my tenants, right? Very large tenant. So we got a wide range of different tenants. I got a great team. We got a property manager, we got an electrician on staff, plumber on staff. So got a pretty solid operation here. And I'm looking forward to growing the empire. I want to have 250, 300, tenants. So, so I'm really excited about where we are right now with real estate.
I love that, man. And honestly, you're even an inspiration to us, because obviously that's where we want to end up being, is in the real estate space, because I feel like the security that comes with that is like unmatched in any business. But obviously, in order to achieve the real estate, there was a business that was originally needed. So for your instance, for example, you had the insurance business as well as the business you had before that. So let's say someone wants to get into real estate and wants to one day maybe have a portfolio like yours. Like, what do you say to them? Like, how do they start their business to get to that level?
First thing I would say is you got to have solid credit, right? You got to know how to run a business as well, because essentially what I'm doing is I'm running another business. So I would start with kind of like the way I did it. Start a business or insurance agency or whatever it is. Start a business, accumulate some cash, and then I would slowly just invest that cash into different real estate projects. Obviously, you need to have a down payment. Obviously, you got to have good credit, and you got to have an understanding of how to manage, and you got to be able to figure some stuff out too. You got to have that ability to figure some things out, because you're always going to run into obstacles. But yeah, for the most part, you got to have credit, cash, and the will to want to make it work.
I love that. And I'm a huge believer in the will to make it work as well, because also when I started business, I was just putting in insane amount of hours and this and that. Just obviously when you're on your own boss, you're not on the clock, you're on this, the clock is always running. So I totally get where you're coming from. I hope the audience can resonate with that as well. I heard you say obstacles, right? No matter how big you are in business, you're always going to face obstacles. And I feel like when you're smaller, the obstacles feel bigger than what they really are. So if someone started their business recently and is facing obstacles, how do you feel like they should face them?
That's a good question. I mean, it depends on the obstacle, but I mean, you got to face every obstacle head on. I mean, and with a positive mindset. You can't be that individual that runs into an obstacle and quits or lets it demotivate you or whatever. I'm the type that's very resilient. So, I take obstacles as challenges, and I like to overcome challenges. So, that's actually probably one of my, that's one of the things that I would recommend, is that you learn how to overcome obstacles and be resilient no matter what the issue is.
I feel like that's something that you get on quickly. I feel like beginner business owners, when they get into a problem or an obstacle is like in front of them, they start to think of like, how should I approach this? What should I do? I feel like with you just like attack it head on and just basically learn from your lessons and kind of improve along the way. Do you like really believe in that process?
Yes, I do. You gotta, it's at a point now where I'm numb to obstacles. Like somebody else, they might, my lady, any little thing happens, she's freaking out, right? It doesn't even move me anymore. I'm at a point now where it's just like, all right, let's just figure out how to get around it. It is what it is.
I love that.
How do you keep that mindset for your team as well when they face obstacles?
I mean, my team, they pretty much just feed off of me, right? So, my energy just rubs off on them. So if I'm like, all right, let's figure it out, let's go. It doesn't matter. We'll just figure out a way around it. They follow suit. So, but then I have a great team as well, and they've been with me for a while. So a lot of them have been through these things. They've seen one thing after another, and they've seen how we've overcome and how we've grown. So I think at this point, my team is, they're pretty much on board with whatever, and we all overcome the obstacles as a group.
I think it's amazing to be an entrepreneur. As you said, your parents had their own business, mine also. I'm from Rhode Island, so right next to Massachusetts, and I also moved to Florida at 22. So what's any self-improvement tasks or tips? How do you keep learning as you continue to run your business?
Honestly, I went through this phase where I was heavy into self-improvement. Christian, I think I might have told you about him, Eric Thomas, E.T., the hip hop preacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was actually one of my mentors. I actually paid money to be part of his program or whatever, and he actually helped me out tremendously. So, I'm a big believer in you pay for what you get. So, I went ahead and I invested into myself, paid for a few courses, stuck through it, got through the entire course, and it seemed to work, that information that they have. So that's one thing that I would recommend, on the self-improvement, is to invest in yourself. I actually, another thing I did when I was transitioning from Liberty Tax over to the insurance business, I realized that in Liberty Tax, it was more of a guerrilla marketing strategy, right? So, you had a person to person marketing where you go up to somebody and, tell them about what you do, or you put flyers out, or you have the waiver out at the front of your store. Those are all guerrilla marketing tactics. I wasn't really familiar with, the internet, websites, social media, things of that nature. So what did I do? I invested in myself just so I can learn a little bit about what's going on. And I went and took a course. I think I paid $3,500 for a course, a week course, to go and learn and understand social media, the internet, the websites. I built a couple websites myself. And then once I realized that it was a ton of work, and that's when I hired Christian and Mel. But, so yeah, I definitely invested in myself on a few different occasions, So.
Yeah, and I think that's so important. Like, you can never stop learning, especially with the marketing and social media. This industry changes so much, so you have to keep on track with it. How have you seen the insurance industry change?
This is kind of where Christian and Mel come in. With the insurance business, at first we were just kind of just doing websites and generate. We have a pretty good local presence, and we were just we were doing websites and pretty good local presence. So we had a lot of phone calls, but nothing like what Mel and Christian were able to generate. With the social media stuff that they were doing, we were getting. We went from doing 10 to 12. We went from doing 10 to 12 leads a day to, I don't know, Christian, how many were we doing? 100, 110?
Sometimes more, but we don't
yeah,
like to talk too much about those days. Those are crazy.
yeah. We literally we quadrupled what we were doing. So, I guess to answer your question, one of the things that I've seen in the insurance business is how powerful social media is. And social media, literally, you can literally generate as many leads as you want. It's unbelievable, and we've used that strategy into the real estate and a couple other things that we do. So, so yeah, that's one thing that we definitely have learned with the health insurance.
Definitely.
So I wanted to hop in. Obviously you've ran many businesses, right? But a lot of them have more or less, I feel like, some sort of theme. Like, for example, the fact that they're required. That's like one theme, I would say. Do you feel like there's some sort of pattern or formula that you kind of have brewed up that you feel like is obviously like a higher chance of success for someone that is starting their business like today?
The way I did it is just hard work and resilience, man. And that's really what I'm seeing as I'm signing these leases and I'm bringing in all these new entrepreneurs and business owners. The ones that succeed are the ones that work the hardest and that are always here and that are just, that are just putting the time in.
Mhm.
You put the time in, put a plan together, and you execute, and give it time, it'll work out. And that's the main ingredient that you need. You got to be patient, and you got to have the work ethic. But then you can't just be doing it blindly. You got to have a plan, and you got to be, kind of like what you guys are doing. You guys are young guys, and you guys put a plan together, and you guys are just making it happen. So, um, that would be the main ingredient that I would recommend for any new entrepreneur.
So it's kind of like a 3-step system. Like step 1, plan. Step 2, work as hard as you can, and then step 3 is like be patient, and eventually those results will come through.
Exactly.
I love that. So obviously you talked about expanding your real estate portfolio into the future. What are your plans with the insurance industry, and how can someone obviously even get in contact with you guys to maybe get a better policy or get some help? Maybe they don't have the knowledge and know-how in that world.
Yeah, so I'm in the insurance world. I'm in the insurance world for the long haul. I mean, they say insurance is the best kept secret. So I'm gonna be in it. Probably my kids will be in it. I mean, with the type of money that you're helping us make, you guys might end up getting in it someday. So we have several different websites. Obviously, you can meet us. You can reach us on our social media platforms, but our websites, we have ObamacareEnrollment.org for the health insurance. And then on the auto insurance side, we have Affordable Car Insurance Tampa. We're located in Tampa. You can, if you don't want to call or do it online, you can also come into our office. We're at 12421 North Florida Avenue, Suite 211. So either or, phone call, do it online, or come visit, say hi, and we can help you here as well.
I love that, man. I feel like the way you operate as a business owner is like so seamless. Like you have everything set up in a proper structure. You have systems left and right. You have systems everywhere. You have a very cutthroat vision of what the future is going to look like, and you kind of like do whatever it takes to get to that. But I feel like one thing that I would say that you don't focus on too heavily is just your personal brand. Just like as in Byron Johnson. I know that you're a very like personal person, as in like you keep relationships private, this and that, which I really like. Like I, for example, keep my family relations super private and off social because I feel like there's a piece to that. Is that kind of like the reasoning behind you setting up your socials that way?
Yeah. I set my socials up. I set my socials up that way because I want to be viewed as just a regular guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be viewed as this guy that, has this and has that, or a show off, or any of these types of things here, like a lot of folks do.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of folks, they get a new car, they post it, they go here, they post it, and I feel like, to me, that's showing off, because there's a small percentage of the population that can buy a Lamborghini like I have,
Mm-hmm.
or a Ferrari like I have, or Lambos like you have,
mm-hmm.
right? So I just, in my opinion, I feel like it's
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more of a, I don't need to brag, I guess, and that's kind of my approach. Maybe it's an old school approach because anytime you're on social media, you see, that's all you see, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just a little older, maybe a little old school, but it works for me. Everything works for everybody. I mean, I like what you guys are doing, man. You guys are doing great with what you guys are doing. And, I love it. So, everybody's different, so.
Absolutely. No, and I love that. And honestly, like that's something I really respect on your end is that you built a business so solid on the business's name that you don't need to like dig into your personal brand to help your business grow. Like your business just grows because it's like a legitimate machine, which I think is something like super inspiring. I think that's pretty much all I have on my end. Naja, do you want to add anything else?
Yeah, I just think, like you said, it's super interesting. You don't see that nowadays. Like your own brand, your personal brand is usually connected with the business that you have. So it is amazing that you built such a strong insurance company, now taking it over to real estate, that you can just let your business talk for yourself. You don't even need your name attached to it. But I love the success in silence.
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate it. And then, I can tell you, the guys that really make the money, that are making the big bucks, I'm telling you right now, they're not on social media putting their stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
I promise you that. I know, because they're my neighbors. And these guys, I'm talking about, these guys, they don't have social media. So that tells you right there. That's, so.
And
But
that's also huge in social media right now. People kind of get scared of social media because they see all this success because people are putting out, their best images and best self out there.
Exactly.
So it makes you think about yourself and get insecure, feel like I want that.
But then at the same time, though, I mean, social media is, Christian, listen, social media is where it's at. So
It is.
That's what I do every day, man.
yeah, so I can't sit here and knock it, because like I said, we've tripled and quadrupled our revenue because of the stuff you guys are doing. So social media is definitely where it's at. So
Facebook's not too shabby, is it?
nah, man, that's Facebook and Instagram. That's those big time platforms there.
Definitely. We do really appreciate your time. I kind of wanted to give a breakdown of everything we talked about, just so the audience has some sort of summary. So the first thing we kind of highlighted was the fact that you like to hop into businesses that are required, because in that situation, someone has to work with you. Any individual is a potential client, which actually, like, even though it makes so much sense, I feel like so many people overlook that point and get into businesses where not everybody's a client, and then have trouble getting clients, right? And then getting into real estate for the long term, because again, you have a company that is generating so much cash flow that you don't need to worry about the short term, where you play the real estate game the way it's supposed to be played, and then focus on improving your credit, attack your obstacles head on, lead by example, not by bossing your team around, and being there for them and showing them the way it works first. And obviously investing in yourself and the power of social media, and basically your 3-step process into becoming a successful entrepreneur is, again, number 1, plan and strategize. Number 2, work so hard that you can't even count your hours. And then step 3, just be patient, and eventually good things will happen.
Wow, you nailed it.
There you go.
You said it better than I said it.
No, come on, man. Again, guys, if you want to reach Byron, make sure to look up Cheap Car Insurance or Star Insurance, as well as Cheap Car Insurance Guru. The man is known by so many names, but he is definitely killing it here in Florida. So if you are looking for anything in that space, or you're looking to be part of a team that is ever growing, that's number 1. Number 2, it has such an awesome work environment. Make sure to hit up Byron. His team is always growing, and they love to add hungry and people that want to be super successful to their team. So again, make sure to reach out to them, because again, you will definitely not regret working in such an environment.